alright? You know what? For all me and Blot disagree on some things, on some matters, I still admire that sort of outlook on life. You know, the outlook of having a laugh and just making fun out of everything, making, you know, comedy out of everything, not being serious at all, just living your whole life trying to make as much humour as possible. I do admire that. I totally admire that. And that used to be me, you know. It used to be me a long time ago. That's how I was for most of, well, certainly for all of my youth. People who hung around with me had a fucking laugh. They had a great time, you know. I made sure of it. Nobody went home having had a shit time if I was out. You know, if I was out having a pint or going out dabbling in illegal stuff, everybody had a good time, you know. I was funny. I was a very comical person. It's what I lived for. I lived to have a laugh. And then I made all them comedy songs and people fucking loved them, and you know, I was very popular for that stuff. But then I got political. Oh, that changed everything. It changed everything. It changed me forever. I can't ever go back to being a person who just has a laugh all the time. I have this very, very serious side to me now, and I have done for 25 years thereabouts. And that's never going to go away. I remember a mate of mine saying, long time ago, he says, we were talking about capitalism, the capitalist system, and what it does to the world. And he says, you know, when you become a socialist, you become a Marxist, and you understand reality, you'll never smile again. He was wrong, of course, you know. He was wrong. Of course you fucking smile. Of course you have a laugh still. But he's right in a sense, because you never go back to how you were before. You never go back to being just purely about having a good time, you know. Your life isn't about that anymore. It's about trying to make the world a better place for everyone. And you can't do that just by generating laughter. You just can't, because capitalism is a very serious fucking system. It's a very serious business. Overthrowing capitalism requires a revolution. And a revolution isn't a tea party, you know? It's a fucking very serious event that you're trying to bring about. A very serious and dangerous shift in the social structure of society. And you can't do that just by making people laugh. Making people laugh takes them away from that. It's an escape. It takes people away from the seriousness of reality, of political reality. And of course, when everyone's escaping and laughing and ignoring reality, then reality just gets worse. So even if I wanted just to ignore it all and just laugh all the time, I couldn't, because it's part of me now. It's part of who I am. But I do look back with fondness on the persona that I had before politics, because You know, they say ignorance is bliss. Well, it fucking was. It was very bliss. It was fucking hilarious. It was fantastic. I had the best times of my life. I had the fucking best days of my life. And politics, in a way, ruined that. So I totally understand why people didn't want to know about politics. I totally get that. I get it. But the problem with that is, as I've just said, when people are escaping reality, reality gets worse. And we need people to face reality head on if we want a better reality. That's the reality. That's the way it is, I'm afraid. You can't change reality any other way. There's got to be a very serious movement of the people against the forces that rule, the forces that make everything shit. And that takes, well, it takes awareness, it takes courage, it takes organisation, lots of it. It takes confidence, mass confidence. And it takes persistence and determination. We just can't give up on it. We can't give up on making the world a better place, man. You can't give up on that. We've got to keep trying. Generations have been trying. We can't let them down. We've got to keep going. Keep fighting. Keep resisting the ruling powers. That's the only way. But along the way, there is room for a bit of a laugh. There has to be. There's got to be some escape, hasn't there? Or we'd all gone absolutely fucking mental. We'd all gone nuts. You couldn't cope if it was all serious. You've got to have a bit of a laugh. You've got to have some enjoyment. But, as I say, when it's all about having a laugh, when that's all you're about, when that's all you're doing, well, that's dangerous, because that just allows the world to rot away. It allows society to fall apart. And we can't have that, man. We can't have that. But, yeah, I do get it. I do get why Blot and other people just want to have a good time all the time. I don't blame them. Don't blame them at all. I was like that for a long time. A long, long time. I'm just not like that anymore. But, yeah, these days I try to get a balance between serious and non-serious. And that's not easy to do. It's not easy. Especially at the present time when I'm kind of in limbo. Because I don't have any political home, and I don't have this central purpose that I've talked about in previous videos, in my mental health videos. I don't have this physical involvement in the movement at the minute. But that might change with this new party that's coming along, you know, this new political party that's being launched. That might change. I might get physically involved again. So, yeah. But even if I do, I have to make room for having a laugh. I've got to have a laugh. Somewhere, sometimes, there's got to be room for having a bit of a laugh and enjoying yourself, man. You've got to. And on that note, I'm going to work, which definitely isn't having a laugh. See you in a bit. Ta-ra.